Hello everyone, thank you for attending this talk in the late afternoon. I'm Antoine Robier and I'm a mobile tech lead in the MCC Mobile Competence Center of Worldline Seclin, and today I'm with Marco and Stevens, who are also tech lead in the MCC. What does it mean to be a tech lead in the MCC? It's that we spend an afternoon per week discussing on tech subjects, diving in the hot topics and help teammates to with a specific technical subject. And speaking of tech news, we are happy to be here with you today to talk about KMP. So if you don't know this acronym yet, don't worry, it will be crystal clear by the end of the talk. As an example, I would like you to start with a little game, Spot the Difference. Can you spot the differences between those two applications? This is a famous social network on both iOS and Android. The option menu on the post is a meatball on iOS and a kebab on Android. Don't ask me why, I don't know. And if you were paying very much attention, you will notice also that there is an avatar on Android and none on iOS. After further testing, it seems to be a bug. But I also have a red dot on the home button here and nothing on Android. My point here is to show that Android and iOS applications are almost the same most of the time. I have a small challenge for you. Try to find an Android application that has an iOS equivalent and which is not the same, which is not has not the same features and does not have the same UX or UI. If you find one, send me a Teams. I'm interested. We'll go back to this point later, but even if the UX and UI differ a little bit, it seems legit to think that the APIs that they are the same, that the internal structure of the applications are also the same, and that the way they store data locally, the resources are almost the same also. So you may wonder, why do we need to develop two applications? Isn't it possible to develop only one application and one code and that is compatible with both platforms? And the short answer is no. Because Android is written in Kotlin and iOS is written in Swift. So even if you use your smartphone on Android and your iPhone in the same way, you use the same application, you do the same stuff with both smartphones, the native SDKs are different, and Apple and Google will never agree on the compatibility of the two languages and the two SDKs. But if we are here today, it's because there is still something to do. Several years ago, Google tried to push to the community a framework called Flutter with the promise to write only one code for Android, iOS, but also web and desktop. And if the promise was amazing in real life, it had several drawbacks. First, the code has to be written in Dart, which is a new language. So the pro Flutter will tell you that it's not that difficult to learn Dart, but in fact, it's time-consuming to learn a new language, specifically if you want only to develop Flutter applications. On the other hand, Flutter embeds an engine that in the application that may increase their size and reduce the launch time of the application. And finally, it won't solve all the problems because you still have to develop specific features on each platform, such as notifications or permissions, which are a little bit different on the iOS and Android. So, not that amazing. To my opinion, Flutter was the best way to develop multi-platform applications a few years ago. But now we have something better. This is a K, there is a M, and there should be a P somewhere, but it's the logo of KMP. And KMP stands for Kotlin Multiplatform. As its name suggests, it deals with Kotlin and multi-platform.
So thank you, Antoine. But first, before diving into what is KMP, let's have a little story about Kotlin. So Kotlin is a new, modern, and powerful language created by JetBrains. The first version came out in 2016. And they created this language before, at that time, they didn't find existing languages that have all the features that they want. So as you can see, it has a very quick adoption on the Android development ecosystem, as it was supported in Android in 2017. And 2 years after, it was the official language for Android development, replacing Java. Regarding KMP, the first alpha version came out in 2020, and 3 years after, we have the stable and production-ready version. And this few weeks ago, we have the second version of Kotlin that was out with a new compiler. So now, why do we use KMP? So the first point, obviously, is because we can share logical code between different platforms, such as iOS and Android. The second point is that if you already know how to develop Android apps, you don't have to learn a new language because all the code is written in Kotlin. And the third point is that you can access to all iOS system API directly in the Kotlin shell code and write it in Kotlin, so you don't have to write some Swift code. So now, if we look at how standard native apps are done, you have on one side the Android app, on the other side the iOS app. And if you use a clean architecture pattern, you will have in both sides a presentation layer, a domain layer, and a data layer. So if we add the Kotlin, the KMP framework on the middle, for example, you can use this framework to share some layer and have only one code for this layer. So for example, for the domain layer and the data layer. And if we go a little deeper inside, you will see that for each layer, you will have some source sets specifically for Android, iOS, and a common source set. So I will explain it a little after. So how does it work is that when you compile it on Android, the KMP shared framework will be a module like any other module of your Android app. And you will have only access to the Android source set and the common source set. If you compile it on iOS, you will have an XA framework library that will have access to the common source set and the iOS source set. So now, if we look at the architecture of the KMP project, you will have 3 parts. So the share module, which contain all the code that is shared between iOS and Android. You will have the Compose app module, which is the standard native Android app, where it will contain all the UI components and some Android-specific classes if you don't want to use it on the common part. And you have the iOS app, which has the same thing for iOS. So now, if you look at the share module, as I said before, you have 3 source sets. So the common main source set, where you have all the logical code which is shared between iOS and Android. You can use the expect actual keywords to call specific API that are available on each platform and to expose them to the common source set. And so obviously, the more code you have on this module, the better it is, because you have less duplicated code and you have only one code to maintain. So on the Android source set, you have code specific for the Android platform and the actual implementation for Android. And on the iOS main source set, you have code specific for iOS and the actual implementation for iOS. If we look now at how it works with expect actual keywords, let's assume that you want to have an object with a string property that will contain a platform and a value of the version of the platform. So it can be problematic because each system has its own API to retrieve this information. So let's see how we can do one way to do that with KMP. So first, on the common main source set, you have to create an interface with a string property that will contain this string. And then you simply have to create a get platform here function that will return a platform object and just add the keyword expect. So here, what we have done is we have exposed the get platform method to the common source set, so you can use it in your code that is in this source set, and we delegate the implementation of it in the specific source set. So on the Android source set, you will have to create an Android platform that will inherit from the platform interface, and you can override the property and instance set it with the Android platform name, and you call the API to retrieve the platform version. And the second point is to implement the get platform method by adding the keyword actual and say that it will return the Android platform. And on the iOS source set, you have to do the same, but by calling iOS system API, but directly in Kotlin. You don't have to do it in Swift and in the native part. So now let's see how you can call shared code in each native application if you want to do that. So let's assume that we have here a function that will take a string entry and that will add to it a random number. So if you have to do it on the native part on Android, you will have this kind of code written in Kotlin. And if you do it in iOS, you will have this code written in Swift. So it's a simple example. So if you look at it, you will see that there is a little difference. So if you want to have this function actually in a native application, you have to create these two codes to use it on each app. But with Kotlin multi-platform, you just have to create this function in Kotlin. So with this simple function, you just have to copy it from the Android part. And if you want to call it, you just have to call it on the native part simply as you will have write it in Kotlin or in Swift on the iOS part. So yes, it's a simple example, but you can share complex use cases. You will find a way to share complex use cases because with expect actual and the lab that exists, you can almost share anything. So one question you will have is, are we alone on this new world? The response is no. There is a lot of library that already exist in KMP. So you have here a website that lists some of them. And we have some example of libs that we use in our project. So for the logger, we have Kermit. For HTTP client, you have Kator. For sharing view models, you can use KMM view model library. You have Room, SQLite, or Realm for database. Coin for dependency injection. Sky to have a code that is more usable on the iOS part if you want to use them. And Moco resource, who allows you to share color, image, wording, or font. And cherry on the cake, Google announced at the last Google I/O that they also use KMP for their own application. all of that is cool, but is there a way to go a little further?
So now we have seen the KMP framework. We are going to go one step further with the Compose multi-platform. So we start to explain what is Jetpack Compose. It's a UI declarative framework. It means that we can write our view directly in our code and not in XML files as we can do before on Android application. Jetpack Compose is managed by Google, and Compose multi-platform is based on Jetpack Compose but maintained by JetBrains. Google announced the first preview version of Jetpack Compose on May 2019 and released the first version stable on July 2021 with 1.0. 1 month later, JetBrains announced the first version of Compose multi-platforms. One of the most Jetpack Compose release is 1.5. It brings us some performance and some new API. The current version of Compose multi-platform is 1.6.11 and not 0.10. Our slide is already obsolete because the framework evolved quickly. For the moment, Android and desktop are in stable version. iOS became in beta version since a few months, and web is in experimental version for the moment. So as Marco said before, the shared module is in 3 source sets. The most important is the common set because we shared a lot of code inside. It's a good person, but he's lying to you. Now we can add a new item in the command main. We can add our view and our screen with Compose multi-platform. So Compose, if you don't know how we can use, it's you have to declare a method and add the @composable annotation. Inside, you have just to write your view. We have, for example, a colon with a text top bar and title contains an image. An element important for Compose is the modifier. It allows us to set the width, the height, the padding, etc. It can be shared between some elements or used for only one. So in Compose multi-platform is the same thing as on Android. You can use your view directly. The rendering engine used for Android is directly the Jetpack Compose engine. So you have the Android look and feel. For your iOS and desktop, the rendering engine used is Skia. But it can be called directly from Kotlin. So Compose multi-platform embedded Skiko to do this. So it's cool. We can use we can write all our new view in Compose, but in most of cases we have already an old iOS application or Android application. So if we have an existing Android application and we have already used Jetpack Compose, if your view is well architecture and are not too much logical code and not references to Java SDK, you can just take your view from Android application native and just move it into a command main part. For iOS, if you have already some view in Compose, in SwiftUI, sorry, you have 2 cases. If you want to write some new Compose view and call it from SwiftUI, if you have, for example, an application on iOS with a complex screen and just want to add a new view, but write it in Compose, you can do this. And in the other case, if you have to write a new Compose screen, new Compose view and new screen in Compose, and you want to use an existing SwiftUI or complex view you have already on your application, and don't you want to rewrite immediately, it's possible too. We will see how. So you have to create a Kotlin function that returns a UI view controller. You have to just to use the Compose UI view controller and write your view in Compose directly in this element, and just to return. And from SwiftUI, you have to use UI view controller representable. It's the element you use when you want to call some old UI kit view from SwiftUI, for example. You must do the same thing with Android Compose view. Sorry, you have just to implement this element, and in the make UI view controller, you have just to call the method declare just before. For the other case, you have to declare two methods in the Kotlin. You have to create a method that return UI view controller, and for this case, you have to pass a parameter and function block that return to a UI view controller. As before, you must use Compose view controller. You write your Compose view. In this example, you use colon and set a text. And if you want to call your SwiftUI view, you have just to pass in the UI kit view controller in factory parameter the function block pass on the method parent. And from Swift, you have just to call it and implement the function block with our SwiftUI, and you must pass into a view controller because we can not call directly a SwiftUI view from Compose, but only a UI view controller. So we can write our view for Android iOS, but with Compose multi-platform, we can do for desktop environment, for Windows or Mac, for example. There is some specificity. You have just to, you can use Windows and floating dialog, context menu, system tray, menu bar, and tool types. Now you can use to Compose navigation in Compose multi-platform application. It's the same thing as Android. You have just two limitations. Deep link are not supported. Back handler function and predictive back gesture are not supported on any platform besides Android. Marco said us before that we have Moco Resource. Moco Resource is a great framework. It's used when you have a KMP framework application. If you have a Compose multi-platform, you can share image, raw file, fonts, and string from Compose Resource. The big difference with Moco is with Compose Resource, we have access to the resource only from the share module. But with Moco Resource, we can call or use resource as the image or string directly from native AMP from iOS and Android app. Mm-hmm. You can use Compose view model as you can doing on Android. You declare your view model with your different state flow. And in your composable, you can instantiate or inject, if you use a Coin, for example, your view model and directly use in the Compose function. So it's over for me. I think Antoine has a little song for you to convince use KMP.
Yes, thank you. No, in fact, no. As a conclusion, what have we learned today? It was a short overview of KMP. I promise there is a lot of things to do with KMP. But for now, with KMP, you can share a lot of things. And if I'll go a little deeper, you can choose what you share. You can choose to share the whole business logic. You can choose to share only the data access layer. You can choose to share the resource management. It's very flexible, and you can also share everything if you want with Compose multi-platform today. Secondly, we can use the actual expect actual pattern to expose something in the command main that has different implementations on iOS and Android, which solves the problem of the different APIs on iOS and Android. And finally, the community is very active, and KMP is already mature technology. If you have something to implement, always be like this seems to be a common problem, and there might be someone who already solved this. So have a look on GitHub on the KMP Awesome repository Marco presented just before, and you'll probably find a solution developed by the community, by JetBrains, or even by Google. And cherry on the cake, all of this is powered by Kotlin, which is an incredible language, very focused on developer experience. One more thing, if you are an Android developer, our advice in 2024 is to think KMP first, for several reasons, and the main one is that it's not time-consuming now to think KMP first, to put your business logic in a separate shared module, even if it's not shared at the beginning of the project. Use clean architecture, try to separate responsibilities, and you will see that when you will have to develop an iOS application, it will be very time-saving.
Yeah.
Last word, do a lot of technology watch. Go on your favorite social network and follow a big KMP account, because this technology evolves very fast, as Steven said just before. And what is not possible today may be possible in 2 weeks. So you have to be very up to date with this technology to stay tuned and to be the most efficient possible when you will have to develop applications on Android and iOS. And that's all for us today. I hope you enjoyed this talk.